Hey, what's up? Justin here, and what I wanted to talk about today is trusting your instincts. So in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, there's a lot of thoughts that either pop into our head, float into our head, or just find their way into our head somehow. And being able to recognize and be conscious of these thoughts is extremely important for understanding what our soul and our instincts are telling us to do and who we are as a person. So I want us to think about maybe on one side of the spectrum, we've got these kind of petty thoughts, which we don't want to act on, and we've got these creative, inspired thoughts that we do want to act on. So being able to be conscious of these is maybe this idea of this higher consciousness where we can understand what's coming in and what to do about them. So these petty thoughts can be really tempting to act on sometimes because they stick around for a couple of days and they might maybe feel like you're expressing yourself if you let them out, maybe saying some little negative comment about someone, or maybe it feels like you're going to get a short-term high or a little testosterone boost or something if you let them out. But you really have to win this internal victory within yourself and transcend those thoughts and recognize those thoughts. And no one's going to give you a pat on the back, and no one's going to even know that you've not said this negative thing. But it's really important for our long-term relationships and also just who you are as a person. So having those victories inside yourself and being able to see what our positive instincts are telling us to do about a situation is a huge part of our success. So on the other side, you might have these inspired thoughts from time to time, and these are a little bit easier to recognize because they feel so good when you execute them long term. And in my experience, they're in a little bit more color and they give you a full body kind of energy. They make you smile when you think of them. And the idea here is that maybe if you're in a rut, for example, and you're just kind of feeling sorry for yourself, you can go off and do something for someone else and just have no expectation of reward, no expectation for anything back or any ulterior motive, and you're just doing it to put positivity and light out into the world. And acting on those is just as important as not acting on your petty thoughts. The third type of thought that gets in the way of our positive instincts are these self-soothing thoughts. Now, these thoughts can come in many forms, and it's again the same thing. The important thing is being able to be conscious and recognize these thoughts and see where they might be leading you astray. So you might be living your life, for example, and you might feel this anxiousness or worry or dread start to creep up inside yourself, and then you might look around your life and say, why can't I just be happy? If I look at my life, X, Y, and Z is going well, my career, my relationships are going well, whatever, and you might just think, why can't I be happy? And you start to justify with yourself or reason with yourself why you should be happy. And that's fair enough. But what might happen is you might be pushing your instincts away, and then there might be a shock that's come up in your life, and it might just experience all that dread and anxiousness all in one go rather than dealing with them as they go. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you're a car company, and let's say you've sold this beautiful car and you've put it out into the world, and then someone tells you that there's one tiny little defect in the car, and in 99.9% of cases it's not going to affect anything, and you might have to recall the car or something to fix that defect. Now, the easy thing to do is be like, oh, well, it's not a big deal, it's one tiny little defect and we've already sold the car. But the spiritual thing and the right thing, the moral thing to do is to recall all the cars and spend all the effort and all the money and all the kind of maybe embarrassment of recalling the cars to fix that tiny little defect, even if you have to unpack the whole car and just get rid of that one tiny little thing and then repack the whole car together or reassemble, whatever. The spiritual thing is to go through that process and just not put off that scandal later, because what's going to happen is you're going to feel that dread anyway, because in that one case, in 5 years or whenever it happens, when someone might get into an accident because of that defect, you're going to have to go through that anyway. So you might as well unpack it now and go through the right thing and trust your instincts and trust your morals, what your soul and your instincts are trying to tell you to do, your morals, because you have this kind of moral compass within yourself. Just go through the effort and the pain of fixing that problem within yourself. And it can be a little bit of a leadership trait to worry and be anxious anyway, because you're really seeing the patterns of life and you're just going with them. So in your life, what this can look like is just sitting still and just not distracting yourself for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and letting the pain just kind of, and the anxiousness and the worry and the dread just hit you. So maybe not distracting yourself with some self-soothing thoughts or some external things that you're doing in your life. Just sitting there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and letting that kind of pain hit you can be really beneficial in the long term to being able to understand who you are, what your instincts are telling you, and what's the right path forward after being humbled a little bit. So I hope you guys gained some sort of value from this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.